Stealing, yeah, no, I mean, I feel so blessed to have already played one of my childhood heroes, which was Hermione, and then to get to play another one, I feel like that's almost unique to an actress to get to do that. So I was like, wow, this is, I just felt incredibly lucky to have the career that I'm having. I feel like it unlocks for people something from their childhood, something that feels so deep inside them, and like something that they've always known. It has a level of familiarity that is just so intense and special. When I talk about prep and whatever else, it was like in the build up to the movie, I really felt the pressure of that, not just from me loving those films, but knowing how much this character, you look at her within sort of the category of those Disney characters, she's kind of the rogue. She kind of like, she takes a different course. That was always what I loved about Belle. Like when I think about Belle, I think about her singing Belle Reprise, which is her sort of coming out of her house and singing this song, which is just kind of like bursting out of her, which is, you know, I know everyone around me can't understand why I don't want what everyone else thinks that I should want and which is being handed to me, but I really just want something more. I want something else. Like this doesn't fit, I don't fit. She kind of, like the Robert Frost poem, she takes the road less traveled, and I always really identified with that. Belle is no sheep. She's really on her own, just on her own path. And I think that in the end is where Beast and Belle find their common ground, is because they both feel really lonely. They both feel like outsiders in their own world. Belle is kind of trapped in her surroundings, in her village, and Beast is trapped in this castle. And there's this sort of strange mirroring, there's this strange parallel where only when they're together do things kind of feel like they make sense, and that's where they start to really fall in love. Yeah, they make sense of one another for each other. What's so beautiful about the story as a whole is this idea that Belle is able to see past these extraneous, external, superficial qualities of Beast. She's able to see deeper, and that's one of her one of her special powers, is that she can see behind his anger and frustration, see the pain and vulnerability and insecurity. And her beauty is put in contrast to his beastliness. And it's kind of what creates that beautiful opposite. I really wanted to get to the bottom of that. We kind of made her this mad, wacky inventor, which was originally kind of like her father was that role, and it kind of became more about Belle. Kevin Kline's character for my father became much more of this slightly frightened, slightly nervous, cautious, but very sensible, wise, loving father. So it was really fun to do that and add that on. Essentially creates a prototype for the first washing machine, so that instead of having to do the washing herself, she can sit and read while her machine is taking care of it. I think she can see in Beast that there's someone that has been fundamentally good, that has been damaged, and that kind of just needs rehabilitating almost, and is just in need of love. Whereas Gaston is kind of the opposite end of the spectrum, who is someone who has had nothing but love and admiration and easiness, and because he's never suffered, he doesn't have any empathy. He doesn't have any empathy. He's essentially a narcissist. So in that way, I see Beast and Gaston as opposites. There's like an intentional cruelty with Gaston, which is about building himself up by pushing others down. Whereas with Beast, there's kind of, you can tell he's being unkind because he's so unkind to himself, and he feels so terrible on the inside that it's a defense mechanism. Yeah, that it's a defense mechanism, and he doesn't see himself as being very worthy. That kind of reflects how he interacts with everyone and everything. Is that they form a friendship first, and that gap in the middle where there is this genuine sharing and this real friendship. The love builds out of that. which in many ways I actually think is more meaningful than a lot of love stories where it was love at first sight and you're dealing with all of these kind of projections. Beast and Belle begin their love story really irritating each other and really not liking each other very much, slowly builds to friendship, slowly, very slowly builds to them falling in love. That is a big problem with a lot of traditionally written fairy tales, is that you're like, so the girl's just gonna give up her entire existence and everything that's important to her for this guy. That's, you know, and that seems to be like this recurring theme, which is like, whoa. And I think as well, like Prince Charming is someone that comes along and understands her. She's waiting for someone that makes her feel understood in some way. In the act of creation, you want to make sure that you're bringing something individual and original, and a big part of it was wanting to stay faithful to the original telling. And I hope we really got the balance right of being like, okay, we're going to offer you some new stuff that you've never seen before, but we're also going to give you the heart of the original.
Waking up this morning, I smile. 24 brand new hours are before me. I vow to live fully in each moment and look at all beings with eyes of compassion. Oh, gosh. Good morning. This quote helps me be mindful throughout my day. And one of the first things I do is look in this mirror to remind myself that I'm still here and I still got it. Still got it. My philosophy for skin is that good skin starts from within. So I like to start my day with this alkaline water, 9.5. Really keeps me hydrated. This is my favorite glass to drink out of. It's actually a wine glass, but I'm more of a water girl. And it's pretty funny because it's like while I'm drinking it, I'm actually flicking people off, so. I love you though, so it's okay. These are my babies. We have Buddha, Michon, he's like the model. Buddha is like the chill cat, and Grammy is somewhere around here. She's my baby. She's the girl. This is Grammy. I love that they purr. I've heard that purring is actually like a healing vibration. All three of my cats were from fosters that I had, and I just fell in love with them. So I was like, I have to keep a few of them. I think I'm gonna go with a cup of happy because I want to be happy today. I also collect teas. I'm gonna go with a stress relief. Yogi's my favorite tea because of the little sayings that they have on compassion will make you beautiful. That's very sweet. I try to stick to teas more than like coffee or anything that has like a lot of caffeine in it. Especially when I'm singing. Throat coat is my favorite tea for when I'm singing. My Manuka honey. I can't have my tea without it. These are my instruments. It took me a while to understand that one of my purposes as an artist is to help aid people in the healing process. And so I've just been studying how sound can be a form of healing, and I'm incorporating these healing instruments into the music so that I can really put that intention into my music to heal. This is one of my favorites. This is a crystal singing bowl in the key of C, which helps balance the root chakra. Okay. You can only play this if you have a pure heart. So let's see if my heart is pure today. Hey, this is JHENE Aiko, and you're watching me on theboombox.com. And she has another person. It's a lot of them. But
Hi, I'm Margot Robbie, and I'm going to teach you some Aussie slang. Bludger. Okay, a bludger is like someone who's lazy. Fair income, kind of like, oh, far out. Good on you. Oh, good on you, mate. Like that. So he's a ripper of a party. Or like, he's a ripper of a bloke. Good. Hard yakka? Hard yakka's like hard work. I've never used the word duvalaki in my life. I have no idea what it means. Oh, so if you crack onto someone, you're hitting on them. If you kiss too much and like your face is all red, you say you've got pash rash. What you call a thong, we'd call that a G-string or a G-banger. But thongs to us are your flip-flops. He's a crook. He's a criminal. I'm feeling crook. I'm feeling sick. Chuck a sickie? If you chuck a sickie, you're like calling in sick. A bottle-o is a liquor store. Tinny can either be a boat or a beer can. Stubby, that's a bottle of beer. You're frothing for it, you're excited for it, you froth those, you really like those. Chunder, vomit, spew, throw up. Barbie, barbecue. Avo for avocado, arvo for afternoon. So yeah, like this arvo, we're gonna go to the bottle-o, get a couple tinnies. Dacks are your pants, like trousers. And so if you dack someone, it's like when you run up behind them and you pull their pants down. Whinge, so if you're whinging, you're complaining, like you're whining. If you're a dag, yeah, you're kind of a dork or a goof or whatever. A bog is a shit or a poop, as you would say in America. A ute is a pickup truck. So jump in the back of the ute. Togs, your bathing suit, put your togs on. Rat bag, my nephew's a rat bag, like a little, like a cheeky little so-and-so, someone who's like kind of misbehaving. Fanny? Fanny? In America, I think you guys call fanny like your bum is your fanny. In Australia, your front bum is your fanny if you're a girl. Esky, I think you call it a cooler. A cuppa, cup of tea. A dunny, it's a toilet. Sitting on the dunny, sitting on the toilet. Durry, it's a cigarette. You can have a durry, have a darb. Sheila, I think everyone knows that one. A woman, a female. Snag is a sausage. A sook, someone who's having a cry, like having a sook. Slab of beers. I think you would say a carton of beers. If you're in a room and you say it's chockers in here, it's like you can't move. There's so many people, it's chockers in here. A quit, yeah, like a mozzie, mosquito, dog's eye. I don't know what dog's eye. I've never said that. If you're a tosser, you're a dickhead, a bit of a jerk. Hooroo? I don't say hooroo. I feel like that's kind of like an older person thing to say, but hooroo. I think it means like hello and goodbye. Rack off, like piss off. Grommet's a young surfer. Shithouse, toilet, kind of makes sense. Old fella? Like, I guess fella comes from fellow, like so an old man, like some old fella pranged my car. What a wanker. That sort of thing. Great Grundies. I've never heard that in my life. I mean, if you chopped out this part and had it just as undies, that's what I call underwear. Spit the dummy, like have a tantrum, crazy. He's totally off your rocker. Come Augusta? I don't know what that means.
Hi, my name's Margot Robbie, and I'm doing an ASMR interview for W Magazine. I'm gonna Google it straight afterwards because I don't know what it is. I feel like we're in a library or something. I'm from Australia, the Gold Coast, in Queensland. I love the ocean, obviously. I love my family. They're an Australian thing, so I can say that. I love Vegemite. I definitely ate Vegemite as a child. Everyone does. It would be super weird if you didn't, but it is an acquired taste. This is what it sounds like. That's the sound of my childhood. Wait for the satisfying bit. Sexy. Hairspray was actually a big part of Pan Am. This is what the sound of the 60s is. Also satisfying. The smell is really bringing back memories. That sounds a little more ominous than she probably sounds coming towards you, but you get the idea.
I am really into natural remedies to maintain the glow. I've been experimenting, trying new things. And I started with cucumbers on my eyes, like a whole lot of natural stuff. I'm vegan.
It works.
And so I believe like what you put in your body definitely affects your skin. I don't drink alcohol, but I will have my wine, my red wine, for an antioxidant. Sometimes. I don't drink soda anymore.
Yeah, I don't either.
And that has definitely affected my skin and everything on the outside.
So much sugar.
Yeah, but I started experimenting with like fruits and vegetables and all kinds of peels. So I make my own stuff at home. Makeup remover, I just use coconut oil. For my masks, tightening, like I just use pure avocado and even mango. It gives you a nice tightening. And well, if I'm going on a cruise, I'm going to assume that it's going to be some sun out there. So I always pack my shea butter. It's great as a sunblock and a moisturizer. I have to have that.
If I were asked to play Sade in a movie, I would absolutely, no hesitation, play her. It's a compliment to be compared to her. Absolutely, I adore her. I'm a big fan, and she just exudes so much grace and class and sensuality. She's the bomb.com. I think anything visual that exposes artists and gets fans into their lives personally, or giving a glimpse at least of who they are, and then the behind the scenes process, you can only bring people along as well as share the experience of what it really takes, because those are the things that we normally don't see or experience with artists or even athletes or anyone for that matter. It's just another level of respect, but also understanding and then appreciation. But it's serious. When you're an independent artist or a major artist, there's a lot of work behind the scenes that we never see. Maybe because it's boring, but it's definitely interesting. I absolutely think that would help, whether it's documentary, snippets on Instagram, or even a reality show to showcase things like that. Yeah, putting together TKO was all about team. Teamwork makes the dream work. Mixing engineers, mastering engineers, songwriters, producers, videographers, directors, photo shoots, photographers, graphic design, publishing, legal, distribution. It takes a team effort, and then it also takes a grind. I've always been applying the grind, but it takes years to get a team that's on the same page with you and to build with you, to believe in you, to go the extra mile and do those overtime hours. So people that are very passionate is what I believe can be the missing piece to a lot of artists that step out into the independent space, because you work harder, you grind harder, you have to. Everything is on you financially. Everything is on you creatively, and you want it to be great and reflect yourself as an artist. And it's all about that team effort. And sometimes it requires you to be your own team to get things done and wear many different hats. But I have great people around me, very talented, passionate individuals that have the gift of music or visuality and sight and creativity and are willing to go the extra mile to get it right. Even when a check is not necessarily coming immediately, because it doesn't always, whether you're a major artist or independent artist. So teamwork makes the dream work, and that's how I apply for every project or circumstance in this independent journey. Being an independent artist for now 11 years, that has been a major highlight. Probably one of the biggest. Getting nominated for a whole album, not just a song, but an entire body of work by the Recording Academy was such a huge accomplishment and acknowledgement. I didn't win, but that was winning because it was so unexpected that, something that I didn't even consider to be an album. I called it an EP because I didn't necessarily have the marketing support or radio budget or anything like that. I just kind of threw it out for fans. Happy Valentine's Day, enjoy. But I did what felt good to me, and that was the reward. Getting acknowledged for something that you love to do and just kind of following your heart. And I had a lot of Prince inspiration, business-wise and creatively. I sat with his coat on the back of my chair that I actually got from him in London when I made that album. And there were a lot of songs that were sitting in my archive, but when I was finalizing the album, I had a spirit all around me. And that was one of the albums that I wanted to play for him in person and share with him, because it had every element that he would let us artists know to follow. No samples, play an instrument, elevation music, and it embodied all of that. And so that spirit was all over the album, and I really think that's why I listened to someone that I respected and admired, and people heard it, and tough competition out there. So it meant a lot.
I think one thing that really affected me was when I was 11. I saw Kurt Cobain singing Heart-Shaped Box on MTV. I saw the video for it. That was something that really struck me. I think when I was younger, I knew I wanted to be a singer, but we didn't really know anyone who was a real singer. So I sort of planned on having a more normal life, just doing something else. And then when I was 18, I moved to New York and just started singing at the open mic nights and playing shows down in Williamsburg. My musical influences have stayed the same for a long time. I really like Nirvana. I love Frank Sinatra, Elvis, Bob Dylan, and, Eminem. I like all the greats from every genre, just the masters of every genre. I was working with a composer named Justin Parker, and he said that he had a couple of chords that reminded him of me. And so when I heard them, I just felt inspired to write about, I don't know, just the same theme that I had been writing about for a while, which was just about this guy I had been seeing and the way our relationship was at the time. It was just a time in my life when I had let go of my own personal career ambitions and just enjoyed being with him at home when he'd come home from work and play video games, and I would write while I watched him. So I think when I wrote that song, I was just reflecting on the sweetness of it, but also the fact that there was something else I was longing for at the same time. It's a 5-minute and 20-second love ballad. There are no drums in it. Thematically, it feels personal to me, so I wouldn't have thought that that would be the song that people responded to. Although it's a gift for someone like me, because melodically and thematically, it is a perfect representation of me, so it's nice. I've just been making moving collages online since I was 17. It's just a passion of mine other than singing. Video games was just one of many, and but for some reason, I think because the vocal was so clear, people just really responded to it. Image is important, but I'm a writer first. I've been a writer since I was very young, and I'm a singer second. Then the editing and the visuals and the photographs and the movies, those come after. I feel like video games and Blue Jeans and Born to Die are all sort of part of a trilogy. I had met this guy and I was really struck by him visually, and when it became clear that we couldn't be together anymore, I just knew in my heart that I would still honor that relationship for a long time. It was just more about living in the memories of the best of the past, and just honoring that time. And that's sort of what video games and Born to Die is about as well.
I was originally just collecting vintage footage from different archives and setting moving pictures to classical music clips that meant a lot to me. Maybe there were places I had been where nice things had happened. I had a vision of making my life a work of art, and I was looking for people who also felt that way.